When you run a small business, you are regularly confronted with questions from customers about why you do the things you do. And the reason you often get these questions is because people know, unlike a big business, that they're likely to get an answer. And so, whereas you might not email an Amazon, a Zara, one of these big companies, you might not email them and say to them things like, why are your kits so expensive? Why haven't you released more designs? Why won't you extend that sale for me? You might not email those because you just assume you're not going to get an answer, whereas you actually would probably email a small business. And some of those questions really make you have to dig deep into why have you chosen to make the decisions you've chosen. So in this series, I'm going to answer some of those questions which we regularly receive, and I hope this will show you just how much thought, care and love has gone into making every part of this business. So we have quite an odd structure as a business. We have a membership program which gives you access to a special section of the website. It's not a neat structure, it's not a particularly common structure, and it's a structure that I go back and forth on regularly trying to work out if it is the best approach to how we want to do our business. But as ever, there is a logic to what on the surface could appear a bit weird, and so I wanted to explain it. But before we explain it, for anyone who doesn't know, let me just quickly explain what our membership structure is at the moment. So we have a program called the Studio Membership Program. We launched it in November 2023, and basically it is a monthly or annual subscription that gives people access to their own section of the website. Through that section of the website, they get access to products. Those products can be things like refill kits rather than purchasing full kits, but also things like one-off frame designs. It can be access to limited edition designs, physical products that they can't get through other parts of the shop. Then there's also access to this entire content database. That content database includes articles on our sources of inspiration, articles on deep dives into particular textile crafts, articles on the realities of running a small business. And then there's videos, there's craft guides, there's how-to guides, things to encourage you to embark on different creative projects. All of these elements are combined into this section of the website called the Studio, for which you pay to get access to. Now, it's not particularly common. Whilst lots of people have blogs on their websites, not many go to quite the same level of in-depth detail that ours does. While some websites do have access to sort of members-only products, it's pretty rare. And we are conscious at either like $8.99 a month or £90 a year, it is something that people pause and think about quite a lot before deciding whether to join. Some people join because they want access to the product perks. Some people join because they want access to the writing. Some people join because they want access to the videos. It's not often that someone joins because they want access to everything. And so I wanted to explain to you why we've set it up the way we have and not just say launched a Substack. Our studio membership was designed for people who want to go deeper creatively. It's for people who want to try new crafts, who want to experiment with new approaches, who want to build their confidence. Whilst it's great to just read about a craft, a lot of people who join our studio membership want to make as well. So if we talk about batik, we want to be able to show a video of how to do batik. We might even then want to have the materials to enable you to have a go at home, showing you the materials that we've tried and tested. The way we really make there be a true flow through creatively is if you can read about an idea, you can then watch that idea being done, then you can go and buy the materials you need to make that idea happen. And the only way you can really do that is if you can combine product and content together. The second reason it's set up the way it is because content takes time. Good content does anyway. Now, in the age of AI, it is easy for people to go out and kind of Google an idea, stick it into ChatGPT, come out with an article, shove it on their website, Bob's your uncle, I could shift out 20 a day. But that's not the way we do content. That's not the way we write things. If we're going to write a guide on a particular craft, we're going to test it out. Meg is going to spend hours trying out the different methods so that she makes the mistakes, so that we find the tools which are the easiest tools to use. So we test out everything in order for you not to make those same mistakes. Or if we're going to write an article about a particular art form, a particular textile craft, we are going to go deep into that research. We're going to try and speak to people about the research, make sure we're being as accurate as we can be, because we're never going to be the experts and we don't want to pretend that we are. But more than anything, we also don't want to put out information that is false, that we have not been able to check. That means we buy the books, we visit the places, we spend time making sure the content has quality to it. The thing is, it's always going to be much harder to see the value in content than it is to see the value in product. If we say to you, join the studio membership, you're going to get 15% off when you buy a refill kit, you're instantly going to see, oh yeah, I can understand that value. I can see why it's worth paying for. But if the value is actually like an article, or if it's just a video, if it's something we share, maybe just a link to something, it's much harder for you to tangibly see the value. The only way you really get to grips with the value is when that idea triggers something for you, when that idea sticks with you, when it lasts with you. Then you'll think, oh, I'm so glad I read that. So whilst it's sometimes hard to see the tangible value in the content that is being created, there is tangible time and investment required to create it. And that needs to be paid for somehow. So the third reason we've built it the way we have is because we want to own our platform. Whilst it would be so much more straightforward to just be able to say to people, hey, sign up, we've got a Substack, by the way, and they would instantly know what that meant. The issue is you are then relying on another platform whose aims, whose goals, who has ambitions may not align with yours. If we put all our content onto another external platform like a Substack, we are building their website, not ours. Substack has no interest in bringing people into your ecosystem. It has an interest in keeping people on their ecosystem, which is why they don't have seamless Shopify integrations to enable you to link across to your website. They don't want you to be able to do that. They don't want that article to also be able to appear on your website as well, so that you get the SEO benefit. They want to get the SEO benefit of that website article. The moment you rely on another platform, much like a lot of us are very familiar with things like Instagram, you are building for them, not necessarily for yourself. And the reality is, at any moment, that platform can change their rules. They can make you pay more for your membership. They can not allow you to access any of your mailing list. You are renting space from a landlord, and a landlord you don't really know. So for those three reasons, wanting to combine content and product, wanting to ensure we had a way to make the content pay for itself, and not wanting to be reliant on third-party platforms are all the reasons why we ended up building our own functionality. And believe me, that is a hell of a lot more work. It is far more work to build your own paywall section of the website that does a bespoke thing you want it to do. It means your entire website has to be more complicated, more expensive to manage, it's more faff, and it is nowhere near as marketable. It is so much harder to explain to people. But the positive is it is ours. I have control over it. I can add things to it, add new things you ask for. I can adjust your environment to suit what you want, not be limited by what the platform allows. And whilst it's not the fast route, that is why I think it is the right route for us. So going back to one of the first things I said, a lot of people who are members of the studio are members generally for one of two reasons. They're either there to get access to the product side of things, or they're there to get access to the content side of things. There's not that many people that are there for both. So fair point, why don't we have tiers? Why don't we just have one membership if you're accessing content, one membership if you're accessing product? Now that's really nice in theory, but the reality of that one, and the reason we don't, is very much a commercial decision. It is complicated to have one paywall area on the website. It is complicated to make sure we always keep both sections of the website updated. Imagine adding another layer. Not only would it cost us in the thousands to add another paywall section that only allows certain bits of access, but then we would have to actively manage it to make sure that, say, people who are on a total open access tier have access to everything. We would make mistakes. We would have things that are showing us in access in the wrong areas and not in access in the right areas. So that's the reality. We cannot, with a small team, manage multiple tiers, and it would take us far too long to ever recoup the development costs to even put those tiers in place. The big question I have whenever people ask us about tiers is that if, say, you only wanted access for coming to one of our events, or if you only wanted access because you wanted to read that article, and in exchange for that, you want a couple of quid less a month off your membership fee. Maybe you want to pay £6.99 for access to the articles rather than £8.99 to access the whole thing. The reality is, this is all discretionary. No one needs to be part of a community membership like this. If you're choosing to join, if you're questioning the value difference between £6.99 and £8.99, there is a question of maybe this just isn't for you. Maybe actually you don't see the value, because personally I feel like even if you only want one section of what we offer on the studio, which I think is extensive and incredible, if you don't see the value of that at £8.99, I don't think you're going to see it at all, even if you have no intention of using all of it. However, that difference, small as it may seem, of a couple of pounds a month in the membership fee makes a huge difference to us. One of the amazing things about having a membership program is, in a business that is inherently seasonal, it helps us to have some level of stable cash flow coming in every month. If we have 100 people paying £2 more a month, that enables us to commission one more article a month, to work on one more video a month. It enables us to do more, to devote more time to it. The moment you scale this up over hundreds of people, it makes a vast difference to us as a business. I believe the price of the membership reflects the value of what we offer, and I back ourselves fully on that. Now, this is a question really I do ask myself a lot. Why do we even have a paywall for any content whatsoever? Because there is a fundamental issue with having a paywall, which is, number one, you lose any SEO benefit for any content you write. If we write an amazing article that could get loads of hits across to our website, Google cannot crawl that page because it's behind a paywall. Likewise, it means you can pour hours into creating something you are so proud of, only to know that it's only going to actually be seen by a handful of people. And that sometimes can feel really demoralising. You want to show people your best work, but instead we're saving all our best work for only a small percentage of our audience. So those 2 points do make me question sometimes the whole paywall concept. But then I come back to the fundamental point. Firstly, that good content takes time and has to justify itself within the business. Secondly, by having that paywall, by knowing who you're writing to is really invested in who you are and what you're doing, it means you can write openly, you can write vulnerably, you can write honestly. All my best articles, all our best guides go into the studio membership because that's where we can be most open. That's how we know our IP is being protected. We know that things can't just be ripped off our website and shoved on someone else's. And believe me, it has happened, and it is a little bit soul destroying. So that's how we can protect ourselves as a business. But through having a paywall at all, you are always inevitably going to be writing to a smaller number of people. You're going to be creating products that only a small number of people can access. You're going to be recording videos that will only ever be watched by a few. That is just the reality of paid for media across all forms. And so one of the things that Substack never really mentions is the fact, whilst they may present these mailing lists of people with 10,000 members, on average, only between 2 and 4% of Substack subscribers actually pay for the content. So for someone who's got 10,000 members, they might only actually have 300 people, each paying $5.99, $8.99, $10.99 a month for access to that content. Those few people who really value that writer's work are the people that enable them to write to everyone else. This model we have at the moment is far from perfect. I know that. I know that it doesn't give everyone what they want, and that we are compromising in certain areas. But it is absolutely the best decision we can do for our business at this point in time. We are not chasing numbers with this. We are not trying to get to some mammoth studio membership. But for our really loyal customers, for the people who really love what we do, what we stand for, our ideas, what we represent, we have a space for them where they can go to it and they can really feel like they are part of our extended studio team. And that's what I think is most important. But those who are members, those who are paying for it, they are never questioning, why is it not a Substack? They're not questioning why it's on a platform the way we've built it. They're not questioning why it's costing $8.99 a month. The people who it really is appealing to and who our membership really suits know the value, they see the value, they feel the value, and they're grateful for the value. And we, in turn, could not be more grateful for them. We don't need it to be thousands and thousands of people. At the end of the day, this is always going to be a smaller part of our business. This is a passion project. It is something which we do for the love of it. And I hope this video has given a little explainer as to why it is the way it is.